Yo, what's up, movie people? I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to another episode of Movie News. We got a little bit to talk about today. We got John Wick news, Mission Impossible Runtime news, The Batman 2 has been delayed, box office news, Across the Spider-Verse is doing great. Let's get right into the news. Alright, first up on our news today, we have a little bit of news about a new project that's going to go down with Phil Lord and Chris Miller. They're going to direct it into a live-action movie from the book Project Hail Mary, and it's going to star Ryan Gosling, and early 2024 is its set release date for now. The description of the film follows a lone astronaut who travels to another star on a mission to save Earth. So this is actually a book that I've been meaning to read a lot. I like to read a lot of books, and this is one that's gone under the radar for me. I really need to go pick it up. I've been thinking about picking it up like this week because of this movie. I just heard the news. I'm like, oh man, right, I need to read this because Ryan Gosling's in it, so I need to read it even more because Ryan Gosling is my favorite actor of all time. He's just so good in anything that he does, and Phil Lord and Chris Miller are just such great creatives. You know, I don't know if they're gonna write the adapted screenplay for this, but they're going to direct it, and I'm happy because they are so good at what they do. And I'm not sure who the author's name is, but I'm pretty sure that they wrote The Martian as well. So I'm expecting good things from the book when I read it, and I'm expecting maybe the author will have some help with the script, maybe help adjusting the script for the movie. But I'm very excited for this movie. Another sci-fi movie. I love sci-fi. Ryan Gosling. It kind of makes me want to rewatch First Man because when I first saw First Man, directed by Damien Chazelle, one of the GOATs, I didn't like it that much, but I keep kind of coming around it, you know? I think it's a slower movie, but it needs to be that slow so you can basically get in the mind of Ryan Gosling's character. And I actually want to revisit First Man now because of that news. But next up, we got Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 news. We all know Tom Cruise is beefing with Oppenheimer right now, but we're not going to talk about that. You can check out the video on my channel where I talk about all that in detail. It was crazy. But Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, its official runtime is 2 hours and 36 minutes long, making it the longest Mission Impossible film ever. This news has me so hyped. Like, you know, I really do love these long movies this year. I don't think I've seen a bad long movie this year or last year, really. I don't really think there were any movies over 2:15 that were really bad, because we had Batman last year, Avatar. I'm trying to think of any other long movies we had last year. I can't find any that come to my head. But this year we've had Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Across the Spider-Verse, and we're gonna get Dune, Oppenheimer, this one. Like, it's a really good time to be a fan of really long movies. I know a lot of people don't like it, but, you know, I find that there's a lot of rewatch value in long movies too, because you could forget a lot of what happens because there's just so many good moments that happen. While in a shorter movie, you don't need to really rewatch it because it's just short and there's not a lot of rewatch value in it. But Mission Impossible has gotten better with each installment in the franchise, and Fallout is one of my favorite action films of all time. And I'm expecting Dead Reckoning Part 1 to maybe be better than Fallout, but since it's Part 1, I don't know, because maybe the action might be saved for the Part 2, and this might be like heavy plot. So I'm not sure what they're going to do here, but I'm very excited for this movie. I just think the marketing needs to start ramping up. It's very close. It's coming out beginning of July. I don't know why they're not marketing this very well, but Paramount needs to step it up. And Tom Cruise needs to get out there, and he can't even go on any interviews right now because of the writer's strike. So I guess he needs to post like videos of him just marketing it. I don't know. But next up, we got John Wick 5 is officially in the works, supposedly. There's been rumors about this, but I guess people at Paramount have said that this is true. People who work with John Wick, the creators. And I guess they're also making a John Wick video game, which is exciting. And they're going to do more spin-offs like Ballerina. I'm hoping we get a spin-off for Kane. That would be cool. John Wick 5 is a pretty interesting topic because you could talk a lot about this because John Wick, spoilers for John Wick 4 if you haven't seen it, but go see it. It's great. He dies in the end. Supposedly he dies. I guess maybe not. I mean, we didn't see him actually like die. We didn't see his body dead. So maybe it's just John Wick. The idea of John Wick is dead, and he's like now a shadow warrior, I guess you could say. I don't know where they're gonna take this. I just don't want them to ruin the franchise because if you ruin it with John Wick 5, then that's just horrible. I don't think that's a good idea. But if they find a good story for it, if Keanu's on board, Chad Stahelski's on board, then go for it. You know, give me another action masterpiece like John Wick 4. I don't know how you're going to top John Wick 4, but go for it. Maybe. See what you can do. But I'm on the fence about that. I am on the fence. We got a little bit of movie news. This is a pretty interesting story also. Will Ferrell is in talks to stars John Madden in David O. Russell's Madden, a film about the origins of the Madden video game. You know, this is a film that also no one asked for, but I guess we're getting. It's by David O. Russell, who we don't like David O. Russell here in the film community. He's a really bad guy. And Amsterdam, which he just made, was pretty bad, not great. So I don't know why Will Ferrell would decide to do a movie with David O. Russell. And I don't know how a Madden film is gonna go. You know, it's one of those topics that just doesn't need to be made, but maybe it can be made into a great movie. What with David O. Russell on board, I'm not sure about that. You know, I'll probably watch it, but I'm not excited for it. But next on our news, we got filming for the Batman Part 2 has now been delayed to March 2024 due to the writer's strike. You know, we want these writers to get their money, get their benefits. So I'm not sure why they delayed it all the way till March 2024, because I don't think the writer's strike is going to go to March 2024. I'm thinking that the writer's strike, if they're lucky, it will go until the end of summer or September. I don't think that they're going to want to strike until the end of the year, because I don't think that's helpful to anyone. But I just think that the studio should give the writers their money. But the Batman Part 2 is delayed for now, filming wise. I don't know if this filming wise date is going to delay the whole film entirely, because it's set for 2025, I'm pretty sure. I think October of 2025 or something like that. I think they could still push it out if they filmed in March and got that all over with, but I'm not sure if that's going to delay the whole movie. But filming, yes, has been delayed for Batman Part 2, which kind of sucks, but it had to happen. We got a little bit of news on a Fast and Furious movie focused on Dwayne Johnson's Hobbs is in the works, and it is not a sequel to Hobbs and Shaw. So I'm guessing this is kind of like a sequel to Fast X. I wouldn't think it would be a prequel, because that would be kind of a weird way to go. But if you've seen Fast 10, and if you haven't, skip past this, I'm going to talk about spoilers. At the end of Fast 10 post-credit scene, Hobbs does come back, and Jason Momoa's character is like threatening taking his daughter. So I'm wondering if Hobbs is going to go on a solo mission to try to stop him, and then he's going to team up with the rest of the crew by the end of his own movie. But we all know that this movie is only happening because Black Adam flopped at the box office, and rightfully so. It's not a good movie. You know, Black Adam was just not good, and Dwayne Johnson really just tried to take that film and just be the whole center of it, when I think the Justice Society should have been the center of it. It would have been so much better. But Dwayne Johnson is really struggling right now because he flopped at DC. He's done with DC. One film and done for him. So he has to get back to another franchise. And I honestly like him in this franchise better than Black Adam. I did not like his Black Adam at all. Maybe it's the character. Maybe it's his acting. I don't know. But we're getting a Hobbs movie, and I'll watch it. I'll be there. We got a little bit of news on, Sean Bailey says the live-action Lion King franchise has the potential to expand into a big epic saga like Star Wars. A quote says, "There's a lot of room to run if we can find the stories." You know, I'm kind of on the fence on this one too, because the Lion King live action movie, it is not one of my favorites. I don't know if I could call it bad, but it's not good. It's like really in the middle for me. Like, there's so much that could have been better about that movie, especially emotion wise on these animated live action animals. I wish it was more emotion in their faces, but you know, I'm not like saying that there shouldn't be more stories, but I'm saying they just need to be, like the quote says, they need to have a great story. You know, you need to just go for your own original story if you're going to make it a big epic saga. You can't just copy the animated film every single time. You need to make your own original story and just go for something new. I want to see something new, you know? I like the realistic look, but I want to see something new here. And we got a big piece of news. There's some rumors going around. Some people are saying it's true. I'm going to believe it for now. But rumor is that The Brave and the Bold for DC, which is going to be the new Batman movie with Damian Wayne, is going to be directed by Andy Muschietti, which I am actually pretty happy about. Andy Muschietti is behind the It films and The Flash, and I think some others, but I've only seen the It films and The Flash. And It Chapter 1, I think, is a great horror film. Really great. It Chapter 2 has its problems, but it's kind of a guilty pleasure for me. I enjoy it a lot because of what the actors bring to it, the new adult actors. I really enjoy that. And The Flash has been getting rave reviews out of CinemaCon, early screenings. Sadly, I didn't get any early screenings where I'm at, but I did get a Batman screening last year, so I guess I kind of lose for this one since I got the Batman one last year, but I will see this opening night. And I'm expecting it to be good or great, but I'm not expecting it to be like a top 10 comic book movie. You know, I think some people are overhyping it a little bit, you know, and I've heard there's struggles in this movie from people I've talked to. I've heard that the VFX is not the greatest. I can look past that if it's not as bad as Quantumania's VFX. And I've also heard that it just ends kind of abruptly and the post-credit scene is kind of dumb. So I don't know how to feel about this, and I don't really know, like, Andy Muschietti, what I've seen from his Batman scenes in the Flash trailers and clips, that makes me really hyped for what he could do with Batman the Brave and Bold, and it makes me, like, kind of interested, because these Batman scenes that he's doing in the Flash look really epic, especially with Michael Keaton, which is really cool when he's, like, in that one scene in the trailer when he's like jumping out of his jet and he just opens the wings. That's so cool how he's directing that. So I think Andy Muschietti is really good for this role. But, you know, I would have liked to see them get a different director, you know, branch out a little bit more. But I'm happy that James Gunn is kind of keeping in the mix of what he likes because he liked The Flash and he's keeping Andy Muschietti around. So I'm excited to see if that's actually going to turn out to be true. You know, I would enjoy it if it's true. But we got a little bit of news on the Boogeyman. Rob Savage says there's an idea for the Boogeyman sequel. It's not what you think you would expect from a big studio movie sequel. I did see the Boogeyman last week after Spider-Verse. I did not review it because I just didn't think I could make really a big video off it. But I'm going to give you my short thoughts on it. I think it's a fine horror movie. I don't think there's anything special in it. It has some really bad cliches, you know, about like just stuff we've seen in a lot of horror movies that I just didn't really care for. I thought the performances were pretty good, and I actually thought the jump scares were really great for it being a PG-13 horror movie. This one I thought it was rated R after seeing it, but I learned it was PG-13, and I was like, wow, they got away with PG-13. And I really did like the design of the Boogeyman. He was so scary, and some of those jump scares, man, they scared the hell out of me. But I had a fun time watching it. I love these little horror movies. They can just keep me so entertained, even though the plot is like sometimes really stupid. And I think the plot for this one is kind of stupid at points, but it kept me entertained. You know, I can't lie. So I would be down for a sequel. You know, I'd be down for like a bigger budget, kind of bigger, scarier sequel. I would be down for them to make a rated R too. I'd like that a lot. But let's get into our box office news for this past weekend. The Boogeyman earned $12.3 million in the film's domestic opening weekend. This is actually not a bad start for the movie. I think it only has a $30 million budget. Not sure what its marketing budget was. Probably not much. But I'm pretty sure this movie will end up breaking even and maybe even turning a profit. Because I feel like it can lag out a decent bit because there's not a lot of horror movies coming out this summer. Basically a lot of action and comedy movies. Yeah, there's not a lot of horror movies. The Blackening comes out, but that's not really a horror movie. That's mostly like a dark comedy. So this movie has until July until Insidious comes out, so I'm pretty sure it could make maybe like 40 million, 50 million in its worldwide box office run, maybe 60. But I think it will leg out, and I'm happy it's finding a success. A lot of horror movies are finding success in this new post-pandemic world, so I'm happy about that. But here's our biggest winner of the box office. Across the Spider-Verse earned $120.5 million in the film's domestic opening weekend. That is huge. That is the third biggest opening for a Spider-Man film of all time. I'm pretty sure the only ones above it are No Way Home and there's another one. It's No Way Home and maybe Far From Home. I'm pretty sure those are the only ones above it. That's just insane to me. Like, this movie is like a revolutionary experience for people right now in the theaters. Like, I've seen it so many times, and every time it's packed, everyone's loving the movie. They're ready for part 2 when it comes out next year. This movie is just going off the walls with hype. Everyone's giving it great reviews. It's not slowing down. This movie's going to lag out a lot. It's going to make a lot in the next month or so that's in theaters. And I don't think, like, The Flash is coming out in 2 weeks, but I don't think The Flash is going to make more than Spider-Verse. I think Spider-Verse is just so excellent that it's just going to have so many repeat viewings. Like I said, I've seen it a lot, and it just gets better every time. That's all I got to say. Fast X has passed 600 million worldwide. It is not looking good for this one, sadly. It has a $350 million budget, supposedly, and I don't even think that includes marketing. So it's hardly going to break even, and it's just not going to be anywhere near the highest Fast movie. I don't think there's going to be a Fast movie that's going to crack $1 billion after the last one did, which I think was Furious 7 passed $1 billion. I don't think Furious 8 did, but Fast 10 or Fast 11 aren't going to pass $1 billion. Our last bit of news for the day is also box office news. The Little Mermaid has passed 300 million worldwide. This movie has slowed down a decent bit. I don't think it's going to end up at 600 million or even 500 million. I think it's going to end up in the fours. I'm not sure what its budget is, but I'm pretty sure it will break even. Not really by a landslide, but it will break even a little bit. So, I'm kind of disappointed how this movie did, but it did well in domestic. Its international numbers are really weak, though, so that's why it's just not performing as well as it should. But still, I think it's a good movie. I think it's going to find a big cult following on Disney Plus when it's on there. A lot of people are going to watch it on there. I think it might still get a sequel, but who knows? It's all up in the air for now. But that's basically all the news for these past couple of days. Let me know what you thought on these stories. I feel like we had a lot of interesting stories to cover today. So let me know in the comments, but I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.